Okay, everybody, it's Randy here with Cherry Berry, and I've got a special guest. The BERNINA Rock Star educator, Sylvain, is here, and what he's going to be is helping us demonstrate the new B08 Bernette straight stitch machine, 1,600 stitches per minute. And Sylvain, the question I have for you is, I want to play devil's advocate. There's tons of straight stitch machines out there on the market. Help me explain to my customer the differentiation with the bernette08.
Okay, so 1,600 stitches a minute is the fastest in its category, right? Most of them are 1,500 stitches. The reason for this, or the reason behind it, is that this does not have like just regular oiled bushings. It has a ball bearing drive, and that makes it quieter and faster, and also it helps deliver more power. It has a what we call a DC motor, like your food processor motor, so instant power when you start. For instance, if I put the fabric under here, and this is just quilting fabric, like it could be shirting, could be anything, and it will go from 0 to 1,600 in no time. And when I'm done stitching, all I have to do is press the cutter, push the knee lever, and I'm ready for the next piece. So speed sewing on this is native mode, but there's some convenience built into it as well. For instance, if I start sewing, typically we want the needle to stop down. There's a button for that. And then as long as I keep going, it will stop down. Even if I cut, when I restart sewing elsewhere, it remembers that I want it needle down. So there's just enough electronics to make it simple, but there's only like 2 buttons, right? The next button is the bobbin winder. So if I engage the bobbin winder and press the button, it would start winding. The light would stay on until the bobbin is full. When the light goes off, this has popped off and the bobbin is full. So I can wind a bobbin while I'm sewing. If you're using the same white thread, let's say for quilt piecing or for whatever you're making, that saves you a ton of time. There are two thread paths. One is the bobbin thread, and it's completely separate from the regular sewing thread. And notice that the threading is pretty conventional. It's all on the outside here. There's even a needle threader to make that easier. And if you use heavy duty threads, which this machine is capable of using, you will use an extra threading guide here to manage those heavy threads because they can be a little twisty. So the machine is fast but simple. And then even your quick reverse is right here. If I need to reverse sew, all I have to do is smack down on this. I don't have to hunt for it. I don't have to grab something or position to lift a lever or anything. I just press down on here and it's done. My stitch length is here. And I tell you, I've had dozens and dozens of people try this machine this week. Nobody's had to touch the hand wheel. Like the machine just did its job and then it did the hand wheel. Now, if you have different thicknesses of projects, and I'll get to them in a second, you have pressure foot pressure adjustment here. You can go super tight on the fabric, like, ripstop nylon tends to slither away. You can actually force it to, stay down. And it's numbered so you know where to go back. Now, I talked about heavy stuff. What we sewed this week is with this. It's called drill cloth. This is tighter than canvas, right? It's 21 ounce, the second heaviest they make. And heavy denim, crunchy denim, is 12 ounces. So that's almost twice as thick as denim. And we did 2, 4, and 8 layers. At 4 layers, this would compare to like your heavy tote bags. When when you box the bottom, it gets really thick. At 8 layers, it's beyond any kind of tote bag you've ever made. So this is super crunchy. The machine went right through it, no issues whatsoever. You just make your stitch longer as you go thicker, which is normal sewing. So, and you can tell this doesn't even want to
I'll tell you what, gang, just to give you some perspective, I'll have to check this in the bag. It will not clear TSA checkpoint. It's a weapon.
So the machine, and one thing I've not mentioned yet is that we include the table.
Right.
So a huge table, you can access your bobbin. Let me cut here. You can access your bobbin case and your bobbin right down here without taking the table off. So while you're working, you set your station, and now there's no disturbance. You can just keep going. When your bobbin is back in there, just put the plate back on, close the latch, and you're ready to sew again. So you save a ton of time. This is all based on efficiency and power. So whether you're sewing, like you're making frilly tutus, out of chiffon, or you're making bags, this machine is a darling for bag makers. And it comes well appointed for that and there's a bunch of accessories available if you get into either quilting or DIY sewing. There's sets of feet available, and each foot in either set would be available separately if you wanted to. So productivity, easy to use, and it's a workhorse.
Perfect. Sylvain, thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Have
it.
fun sewing.
Thanks.